Hey there traders, welcome back for episode number 80 from the StockBandit.tv. It's a place you can always find trading videos to make you better. That's the aim here. I want to show you what I'm seeing. I want you to learn from it. I want you to apply it to your own trading so you don't have to rely on me. So let's take a look at the major averages this weekend, and we'll take a look at, kind of where the big picture is as we move into a brand new week of trading. Because as I repeat here so often, the place that most individual stocks are going to find their influence is in the overall market, in the major averages. What they're doing is going to influence what individual stocks are going to do. And as traders, you and I need to stay on top of the big picture so that we know, what the smaller picture, the individual names are going to be doing. So let's take a look here at the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 and the Dow, and we'll just kind of eyeball some important levels going forward that we can keep an eye on, because if those are crossed, those may be serving as some lines in the sand for individual stocks to take their cues and then start making decent moves that you and I can profit from. So up first is the NASDAQ, and of course last week was the July 4th holiday. I want you to take note down here of the very quiet volume. Take a look at all 4 days of last week's trading. By the way, it was a 4-day trading week. Market closed on Friday. But all 4 days of last week's trading were well below the volume average. This is a 21-day moving average of volume, so that's about the 1 month, running average of volume. So very quiet volume last week, and yet, generally July 4th and the Thanksgiving week are the two lightest trading volume weeks of the year. So that's very common to see. But take a look at what may be taking place here on the daily chart. We may have just formed a lower high here in the short term. That remains to be confirmed, which would really need a breakdown here through this level, which is kind of the dip low between these two peaks. Okay, so in spite of the light volume, we may have started a significant technical move, and of course, like I said, I want to repeat that does need confirming. But at this point, there is a chance for a lower high here and possibly some corrective price action in the days and weeks ahead to start developing. So, for the NASDAQ, here's what I'm looking at. 1785, this has been a very important level a number of times as not only resistance but also as support recently. So if we undercut 1785, I think we head back down. And then, of course, the next level is going to be right here at the June low, 1753. That's that low between these two peaks that I mentioned. So 1785, 1753. Those are the downside levels to keep an eye on. Now, on the upside, let's see if the gap Thursday morning is able to be filled. Okay, that really extends up to about the 1843 level, which is right here. So I'm going to be watching that as well. If we do bounce, can we rally up to 1843 and fill that gap or not? If so, then that would be technically healthy, but just a couple levels to keep an eye on there for the NASDAQ. Now for the S&P 500, still remain in this very large channel here. We're just moving sideways here. However, if this is the peak right here, set in June, and then of course last week's high right there before we rolled over, that again is a possible lower high. If we do move down through this key support here at 875, which as I zoom out a little bit more, you can see 875 has been a very important zone on both sides of the market. So if we fall further and add to Thursday's weakness, that 3% down move, then if we undercut 875, then this market may finally enter into some kind of a corrective phase, and it really hasn't done so since we turned higher in March. We've rallied and we've based, but we really haven't corrected much, so that's something that eventually is going to happen. And for the Dow, we've got two very important levels here. The lower end of this channel outlined by these blue lines is 8,200. It's very well defined. Then above is 8,600. So we're in this 400-point range. We turned decisively lower on Thursday, but we're still inside the range. So until we break 8,200 to the downside, not a whole lot to get excited about here for the Dow. But I really suspect it will take its cues from the S&P and NASDAQ. So let's see what we get, all right? I want you to go out there, do your homework, find some good setups, take those setups and stick with your game plan this week. On Monday, go out and put your trading week off to a great start. Come back here soon. I will have more videos, but in the meantime, trade like a bandit.